Hey everybody, you're watching Cole the Corn Star. Good morning everybody, welcome to Corn Star Farms. We are going to be tiling today. If you are not familiar with the term tiling, another word for it would be a drainage system. Underneath of all these strips of dirt in the field, we have plastic pipes that are buried, and those plastic pipes have little holes in them, and then they are all graded to go towards an outlet. So in our case, we have a creek behind me, so all of these drain to that creek, and the whole point of this tiling system is to remove excess groundwater from our soil. For our first task of the day, we are going to be installing outlet pipes, which are these things. And if it looks like it's cold, wet, and miserable out here today, that's because it is. These black outlet lines are where all of the water in our system drain to, and then they ultimately dump the water into our outlet. Outlet pipes can happen as often as every 100 feet along our outlet, and they can be over 1,000 feet apart. It really just depends on how the water flows through the land. So actually where I'm standing right now, we have two outlet pipes right there. We have the outlet pipe that we are installing right now. And then if we look a little bit further down, we have two more right there. This black outlet pipe has a special construction to it. If we look further up into our outlet hole, we have a green pipe up there, and they are currently connecting the two together right now. The green pipe is a single wall pipe. So it's just one layer of plastic, and the green pipe has perforations in it. So the green pipe is up in the fields, and then we're putting this black piece on the end because this one is made of dual wall plastic, so there are two layers of plastic. There are also no perforations in this, so this does not have holes. That will help prevent grass from growing up through this and plugging this. We do not want this part to plug because we need the water to be able to run out into the creek. And then this one also is dual wall because we need it to be a little bit stronger because it does overhang the edge of the bank a little bit, so we want it to be able to maintain its shape and not just droop down. And then since we are going to be dumping this water into an active creek that is teeming with life, we want to make sure that we don't get critters climbing up on the inside of our pipe. We will have some warm air coming out of there during the winter time because this is basically a geothermal system, and it will also be cool during the winter time. And so I'm sure this would make a nice little home for animals, but we will prevent them from climbing up inside of there by installing this critter guard. So this will mount up all the way on the inside, something like this, and then that will prevent animals from being able to climb up in there, but water will still be able to flow out. Zach and Cooper got the green to black pipe connection made, and then they taped it to secure it, so they are now doing a method called bedding and blinding. So Zach is standing on the pipe so that way things don't move, and he has a spade in his hand, and then Cooper is in the mini excavator. He is just gently setting down some nice soft soil onto the pipe, and then once he gets that set in there, then Zach is going to take the spade that is in his hand, and he is going to push it along the side of the pipe, and he's going to break up any of the big chunks. So that way, we don't have a bad seating around the pipe where I'm not sure we'd really have much problems along the edge of the creek, but if you were out in the field, if you have big chunks around the pipe, you drive over with a tractor, those chunks could smash the pipe, it could make the pipe not work. So this is a really important step. Once we get about a foot of dirt on top of the pipe, then we will be able to hop in the skid loader, and then we'll just take the big pile of dirt, and then we can push it in the hole, get everything looking nice and pretty, and then we will move on to the next outlet. And just like that, that is the finished product. For this next outlet, things are going to be a little bit more challenging. We have a main line that comes in from that side, and we also have a main line that comes in from that side. So we need to install a T. So that black thing behind my brother is what he is going to be installing right between these two pipes. So he's currently getting this one dug out. Those T's are a little challenging to install. You have to get it really clean around the pipes. So once we get that one installed, then we will get this one bedded and blinded, and then we will come over here where we have our dual wall, and then we will be tying everything into the creek. And it appears on this one we have some filling to do under the pipe because when we dug our outlet, we ended up digging it too deep. So we need to get this brought up. So this one has a few more moving pieces to it. I'm gonna pause on the tiling project for just a moment. I have an announcement. At the moment, we have 200 Cornstar Farms hats in our merchandise inventory, and we took all of the profit margin out of them for us, so I'm not making any money on them anymore, and they are on sale for $19. So if you would like to get a Cornstar Farms hat, or if you would like to get one for Christmas, or get someone a Cornstar Farm hat for Christmas, if you go to the link in the description, or if you go to the top comment in the comments down below, or cornstar.farm, you can pick up a Cornstar Farm hat for $19. And we only have 200 of them, and once they're sold out, they are going to be sold out. So I would act sooner than later. And then also, we do have Cornstar Farm socks for sale with the same deal, and they are on sale for $12. And there are about 200 of them as well. And once they're gone, they are gone. But I'm not making any money on them. I just want you guys to be able to pick up some really cool socks and some cool hats. So if you want to check those out, they are down in the description or the comments below. We just got this outlet installed, and while I was down here, I heard running water, and I looked over, and look at this. We have an old outlet. This one is made out of metal, or was made out of metal. This one is now shot. If I had to guess, this one's probably about 40 years old, but the water no longer runs out of the end of the pipe. It actually corroded a hole somewhere. Ooh, that was sharp. Somewhere up inside of there. Yeah. And so now it's starting to erode underneath of the pipe, and it's gonna just keep eroding this bank away. So at some point we should actually dig up there, find the old tile, and then put a new outlet on it. So that way it prevents this erosion, and then it will basically just look exactly like the one that we just installed. Look what I just found. Found another old metal outlet pipe. I don't know why this one's just sitting up here. Ooh, and look at this on our next outlet. Ooh, if I don't fall, looks like we have another tile line that is running. Let's see if we can see what this one's made out of. Oh, that's a plastic one. Okay. You may be wondering why the old ones are running water, but these new ones are not. And the reason for that is because the new system that we are installing is only on our side. And it is all of those dark lines that we are seeing, and it stops at those weeds. The tile lines that are running, I'm assuming, go all the way up this valley, and they pick up some sort of little natural spring or really perpetually wet hole up there, and then the tile lines ran through our fields. So I assume that's what that is anyway. I feel like these ones are pretty much always running, so there's just some high water table spot up above us that is doing this, where on our side, our water table is currently below the tile lines, so that's why we do not have anything running. We're on the next outlet now, and this one has another T, and this one could be a little interesting. We still have 4 outlets to do, but while we are over here in this part of the field, we have a couple start holes that need to be connected up to the main line yet. So we are going to take the shovel and get our main line exposed, and then we're going to drill a hole in the side of our main line, and then we will hook the lateral up to the main, and then we will do our bedding and blinding process just like we do with the outlets. We just have a smaller pipe. We have now moved on from start holes to fixing areas where we hit rocks. We have a spot where we dug up, we can see our pipe is installed, and right here we hit a rock and it made a hump in our pipe. So we're just gonna dig down beside it with a shovel right now and try to push it in the right spot. And ooh, we might have actually had a crushed pipe right here.
It looked like it, but
yeah, maybe not. But we got like 8 of these that we're gonna try to fix the hump of the rock on. And then we just gotta throw our dirt back in. And we tried to make these ones where we have the clay on the one side and the nice, soft top dirt on the other side. This is the next hole. You see the big hump right there in the middle? We gotta dig that out. This is the next one. I would say this one is even bigger. It's rocks like that give us problems and put our pipe out of grade. This particular one, we hit a little rock pocket with a bunch of tiny rocks. If I had to put things in terms of favorites, betting and blinding, installing outlets, and fixing rock humps would be at the bottom. It's been about 2 hours, and we are just now covering our last rock hole. The mains that we were at earlier may not have been running water, but we just got to one way up here on top of the hill, and we have a wet hole. So this one has found some water. It is now the next day. We do technically still have 3 outlet pipes that we need to get installed, but we accidentally ordered 3 short. So while we are waiting for those to come, we are going to get things flipped over in the tile plow, and we are going to start pulling some 4-inch laterals. Before we can start pulling lateral lines, we do have a little bit of prep work that needs to be done first. Number 1, we need to start digging some start holes. So Zach is going to be working in the mini excavator, and he's going to be digging starts just like this. And we have probably about 70 that need to be dug. So while Zach's running the mini excavator, my brother Cooper is running the trench closer, and he's closing up all of these trenches that we've done. It's really rough to drive over them with vehicles if we don't do this. So that is a very important thing right now. And then as for me, I am going to be fixing the big blowouts. The other day we pre-ripped some main lines, and when we pre-rip them, it makes an absolutely huge cavern. It's actually too big for our trench closer to be able to properly close this. So I'm gonna hop in the skid loader, and I'm going to try to push these shut a little bit, so that way Cooper can actually come in with the trench closer and get these pre-ripped main lines nice and sealed up, so that way we can drive across them a lot easier. I take that back. My brother Cooper is going to take the skid loader. I guess he is done in the trench closer right now. We have a neighbor about a mile down the road that has a blade that can go on the front of the skid loader, and so Cooper figured that would be a lot easier to use than our bucket to try to seal up these trenches a little bit. So he's gonna go get a blade, and I guess I'm gonna get some tile carts loaded up. We are done pulling mains on this farm, so we are going to start by bringing this half-used roll of 8-inch back to the farm, and then we are going to be loading up with our black 4-inch rolls, which are currently on the other side of the creek. Take a good hard look at these supermassive trenches, because in a few minutes they will be here no longer. While I'm over here at the farm, I'm going to do a little inventory check and see what we have for 4-inch just sitting around. I'd rather us get rid of some of this, that way we can try to make this pile a little bit smaller instead of building to this, which looking at it, looks like we have some 4-inch right there. It looks like the top half of this pile is 4-inch, the bottom appears to be 5, which we do not have a boot for, and then that also appears to be 4-inch. Not perfect, but definitely a lot cleaner. Let's see how Coop's making out with the blade. Oh wow, that looks like that's gonna work awesome. Tip, when you're driving a brand new maxi roll across the field, if you leave one little string still tied, then your maxi will not come unrolled while you are driving. Oh, absolutely beautiful job. Now we have the fun part. We are going to be taking all of the 8-inch stuff off of the tile plow, and we are going to be putting all the 4-inch stuff on. With the changing of the 8-inch boot to the 4-inch, that should be the last time that we have to change boots on the tile plow this year. And I also have good news. We are not going to hit any more rocks in this field. Okay, I don't actually know that, but I do know that the soil type on the other side of this waterway has the glacial till beneath it, and over here we shouldn't have the glacial till, so in theory we shouldn't have any rocks. We're pulling in 4-inch. Well, we already hit a rock and we've done 1.5 runs. We ended up pulling in tile last night, well into the dark, and we ran out of start holes. So today it's going to be just me out here, and I'm going to be digging start holes with the Mini all day. Before I get started, I'm gonna take a shovel and try to dig out all this packed clay inside of the bucket. Right now, we probably only have half bucket capacity, so this should help speed up the digging process a little bit. That looks so much better, and honestly that was probably about a half of a bucket of dirt stuck in there. I don't know why I'm just now noticing this, but I have no idea how to grease this pen. After doing a little digging, I was able to find them. They were covered with dirt, but they're not really that easy to get to. My goal is to dig 50 holes before it gets dark. I don't know if I can do it, but I'm gonna try. There is number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, number 6, and those are all the rocks that we found in this field so far. Number 7, 8, 9. Before today, I've dug 1 start hole, and I'm averaging a hole about every 10 minutes, so I am not going to have enough daylight to be able to do 50, but I'm gonna try to do as many as I can. Start holes are pretty simple. Number 1, at the back, we wanna make sure we have a little ramp or a little step, basically just so we can climb down and be able to get out just like this. Then once we get that ramp done, then we need to dig down, we need to find our main. It's important that we do not hit our main. If we do hit the main, it's not the end of the world. We can always put a patch in, but it makes it a lot easier if you don't hit it. So once that's exposed, then I pretty much just dig right back at a slight angle going up, and then I just need to make sure that I'm deep enough underground for where the tile needs to be. So if I have my tile minimum at 32 inches, I need to be at least 32 inches deep where the tile plow would sit, and then once I have that done, then I'm ready to go to the next hole. And then for another step that I am doing, some of our deeper soil is a little bit sandy and rocky where we are located, so I'm taking the good black topsoil and I'm putting that on the right side of the hole, and then the sandier, rockier, or clayier stuff I put on the left side of the hole. So then when we go to backfill the start hole, once we get the tile pulled in, then we will put the sandy sandier, or clay, or rockier stuff in first. That way it's on the bottom, and then we'll have the nice dark dirt on the top. I think that was number 14. So here's what happened. I got into the digging zone. I was a digging machine. It was so smooth, it was like butter. I was just boom, hole done, boom, hole done, boom, hole done. And like 4 hours has now gone by, and I think I dug around 20 more holes. The area that I was digging in was all the way from that pickup truck along the creek all the way over to there. And I believe I dug 27 holes, which was not 50, but it is better than 0. My new goal for today is to be able to get all 27 holes that I dug yesterday pulled in with tile. And this morning is going to be a little strange. My brother is running off to a neighbor's right now. He's going to bury a horse for them. And then once he gets done with that, my dad and brother are going to be going to a cemetery where they are going to dig a grave. So I'm not going to have help from them for a little while. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting for them, I'm going to get things set up here in the field, and I'm going to attempt to run the tile plow by myself, which should be a little interesting, and it probably won't be very efficient, but it will keep things moving. We are going to check the oil, and it looks good. We are probably getting pretty close to an oil change though, based on the color of the oil. Holy cow, we have all kinds of water bottles in here. Come on, there we go. When you are pattern tiling a field, if you have 3 guys, you can get a lot of stuff done. If you have 4 guys, everybody has their own job, they can all do the same thing, and you can really get things moving. Since it's just me right now, things are definitely going to be slow because I'm going to be doing everything. I'm going to need to survey my lines with the tractor. Once I get done surveying and get the plow dropped into the hole, then I'm going to have to lay out my tile. And since I don't have someone here to hold the tile, I'm going to have to use the probe and then stab it into the ground, hold my 1-ended tile. Once I get it strung out, then I'll go down, I'll cut the tile, I'll put an end cap on, and then I'll drive the truck back down here, hop in the tractor, and then pull the tile. And I will do that for every single run. When you have 4 people out here, the guy in the tractor never has to get out. The guys running the tile, that's all they do. And they can just stay in the truck and they can just keep pulling out tile. So it's definitely a lot faster with more people, but at least it's not impossible with 1. So we're gonna see how many lines we can pull. I really don't have any terms of efficiency for by myself. I just want to keep the tile plow moving. Run number 1 should be about 400 feet long, and I should have at least 400 feet of tile on this spool yet. So fortunately, I will not need to do a spool change yet. By the way, you also can't just yank the tile off of the spool as fast as you want, because then it keeps spinning, and then when you stop and that keeps spinning, then it unspools itself, and it's super annoying. So you kind of got to walk really slow while you're pulling it out. I just tried poking the probe into the ground, and we are in a waterway, and the ground is quite hard right here with all of the grass roots. So I'm going to use the Ranger method. And this is the Ranger method. Just run it over and sit on it. Now I missed it. Let's try that again. Ugh. You dirty dog. Came out from under the Ranger tire. I tried doing it on the passenger side of the Ranger, and I just cannot see my tire, so I just need to turn the Ranger around. There you go, you filthy animal. Let's try this again. There we go, perfect. In most cases, I would end up having to cut the pipe in order to get our end cap in, but I actually ran out of pipe at pretty much exactly the end, so I don't have to do any cutting on this one. I just take the end of my pipe, and I have my end cap, and I just shove it inside of there. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Yeah, went in a little too far. There we go. Come on. There. And then, just like that, this is now blocked. Dirt won't go in there when it goes underground, and we're ready to pull. Now that we got the pipe laid down, we are going to do our survey run, and once we're done with the survey, Then we'll throw the pipe into the boot of the plow and we'll start pulling. It appears we are going to have a nice slope on this 500-foot run. We're doing just over 4%. Okie dokie. We need to do the old lower the plow down into the hole. See if I dug my star holes right yesterday. We're about to find out. If I didn't, it's going to be a little sad actually, because I don't have the mini here to fix them right now. Perfect. Do a little double check. Yeah, pipe flows downhill. That's what we need. All right. We're gonna try to do this one without it completely unspooling itself. When they're full like this, sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge. Remember what I just said about the whole unspooling thing? Yeah, well, it happened. Always remember, put the pipe through the ring first. Just grabbed a new maxi roll, and looking at this one, it looks like when it got dropped off the trailer into the corn stalks, we got some holes poked in it. So we're gonna have to do some pretty good inspecting on our first lap around. Looks like we got a dent right there. Yeah, I have to cut that one too. Another one up there. Oh boy, we got more holes up there. Right there. Got one right there. Got one right there. Got one right there. Fixing the holes really isn't that bad. The most annoying part is walking along like this for the entire length of the pipe, and I'm feeling with my bottom hand to feel for holes, and I'm looking on the top. And once you do it for like 500 feet, your hand gets pretty tired. I would really like to say the process of installing tile is super exciting. It is satisfying to look at all the work that you've done, and it's gratifying knowing that you're going to be getting future benefit out of it. But as for the actual installation process, it's pretty slow, and you do the same thing over and 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 over. I have good news, it's not just me anymore. My dad is here helping. He's gonna string out the tile lines for me. And it sounds like Cooper was running into some issues, so I don't think we're gonna see him today. Another thing with tiling, it makes the day go by really fast because you are always doing something, so it makes things just go. It feels like you just get started and then 3 hours goes by and all of a sudden it's dark. We are currently running into a couple problems. I don't think that the fuel gauge on the Challenger works 100%, or at least not when I'm on a 25% slope like I am right now. I'm trying to pull through a normal, perpetually wet side hill seep, and I got up in it and it just acts like it runs out of fuel and then it stalls out the tractor. It's done that like 3 times in the last 30 feet. So we went to go put fuel in this, and there was like 100 gallons left in the fuel trailer, and since we are sitting on such a steep hill, all the fuel runs to the back of this fuel trailer. So we could put like 30 gallons in this before we ran out in the fuel trailer because it can't get to the part where it sucks from. So my brother is going to go to the farm now to get some more diesel fuel, and hopefully filling this thing up with diesel fuel fixes our problem. Otherwise, we are going to have to cut our pipe here, lift up out of the ground, and then I don't know what's going on with this tractor. It's pretty hard to tell how steep it is by looking out the window right now, but if you look at my survey line, you can see it goes relatively level, a little baby hill, then woo, and all those spots that are the blobs, That's every time that the tractor stalled out. To add insult to injury, Cooper lost his knife somewhere out here in the field when he was walking and fell out of his pocket. And then also, my phone is about to die, so I went to go plug this thing in, and it looks like somebody had a pop or something sugary and sticky here in the cup holder, and it spilled when they hit bumps, and it went all down inside of this thing, and now this doesn't work anymore. It's just one thing after another tonight. Ha! Look at this. You can charge your phone in the side of an In-Command Go 16. I did not know you could do that. Cooper just ran over to the farm to get more fuel in the fuel trailer, and we are going to try this again. The camera just does not justify how steep this hill is, but it's pretty steep. Filled her up with fuel, got about 7/8 of a tank now. We're gonna try this again. Okay, float is on. We are in start. We're gonna put it in first gear. First gear is on. And we're gonna turn the feeder on. Throttle up just a little bit. Okay, here we go. Gosh, something's going on. It just stalled. I did the old try and try again and try again and try again method, and finally got the tractor up the hill. It seems like when we get into where the turbo kicks in, then it stalls. I actually just pulled a run. I was fine until I got to a hill, and the turbo started to spool up a little bit. Boom, stalled it. So we have a feeling that the fuel filters are plugged up. So we're gonna be doing our last run of the night here, and then we're gonna get some new fuel filters on. And hopefully that fixes the problem. It ended up getting pretty foggy last night. My brother Cooper ran up to the parts store this morning and he grabbed fuel filters for the Challenger. So it is sitting right by the fuel trailer right now. We're gonna get the new fuel filters in it, and hopefully that is the problem. There are chances of rain in 5 hours, and then in 2 days it appears that we are going to get frozen ground, and that should be the start of winter, which means we will be done running the tile pile. So we need to get that field done. I do like on this Challenger how they have this nice little platform to be able to get over here. Here we go. There you go, Johnny, let her rip. Oh, here we go. Moment of truth to see if the fuel filters were our problem. Once we get a little bit of turbo spool, we will find out. So far, so good. Good news. I think the fuel filters were the problem. We made it all the way through this run with 0 issues. We're gonna be doing a lot of pulling today. Yeah! Look at that! We're spinning. We're spinning, but we're pulling. That's all that matters here. By the way, that's the hill that we ran out of fuel on last night. Next up, we are going to be pulling our 2 most dangerous lines on this entire farm. Right between that line and this line, we have 2 underground buried natural gas pipelines. One of them is a 36-inch, one of them is a 30. They have about 1,000 PSI of natural gas going through them. So if we hit that, we honestly wouldn't even know it. We do have a gentleman here from the pipe company. He is monitoring everything. He came out after we called the dig number, and so he's going to make sure that everything is okay. But we're going to be pulling these 2 runs right along these pipelines right now, and these are by far the most dangerous runs that we have on this farm. The gentleman from the pipe company did hook up his little electrical meter thing so that way he could find exactly where the pipe was located, and then he also did probe it. There is 7 feet of dirt on top of the pipe, and we are pulling 3 feet deep, so we should be plenty clear, but he is still here just as a precautionary effort. Looks like we're gonna have a little splice on this one, and also I think I found the culprit of what made the cigarette lighter so sticky. Float on, feeder on, we hit start, we're in first gear, gas guy is right there, slowly let off the clutch, and okay, we are pulling. I know everything is flagged off, and we have the guy here, and I'm 25 feet away from where they have even marked on where the pipe is, so we should be plenty clear, and they should be super deep below us, but I'm still gonna go as slow as the tractor can go on these runs, just as an extra layer of precaution. There's really no second chances if you were to hit this pipe, so I'm currently going 0.8 miles per hour. I got the line on that side pulled. We are now on the other side of the pipeline. So far, so good. Look at that. We got a good example of a high water table right here. We are way up on a hill, so it doesn't make sense why we have water sitting here, but the water table's weird and it does what it wants to do. So this is actually a really good illustration on how the tile works. So the tile is going to hold the water table right there. Won't let it get any higher than where it is. So then everything up here is not sitting saturated underwater like everything that is below this water table. It's raining! The start holes we've been working in for the last little while have had some water and mud down in the bottom, so this rain's really not going to affect a whole lot here. It's just going to make them a little bit wetter and a little bit muddier. I'm really more caring about the mud that's on the surface, and at this point, it's barely sticking to our tires. It's more or less just wet, so it's really not affecting anything. It just makes conditions not as fun. I think it's 50 degrees out right now, so 50 degrees with a little drizzle and everything you're touching being wet, it can get miserable kind of quick. But fortunately for me, I'm up in a cab that has heat, so it's really not too bad for me. See, it's like we just got started and it's already dark. This is how I know we have been doing a lot of tiling. Those are all strings from all the maxis that we've untied. That's a lot. I think this year is the year of headlights going out on the farm. I'm in the dually right now, and I have the brights on. Wow, those things are horrible. Oh yeah, nice, wet, foggy, damp morning today. We're gonna get her done though. Hey, 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 look at that. I think we found a big rock. Let's watch Presley run. He may be the slowest runner that I know, but he beat the tractor, so that's all that matters. We are on a monumental run right now. This is a approximately 100-foot long run, and it is the very last run of the field. Once we get to the end of the tile right there, this field is officially pulled. And here we go. 10 more feet and this field is done. 140, done. Oh, we may be done pulling, but we're not done working in the field. We still need to get connections. We need to dig up all of our rock spots, and we need to backfill everything and run the trench closer. And it is starting to rain, so it's not going to be the most enjoyable. Before we go get wet, that is the field that we just got done, and it was about 20 miles of tile. The Ranger is going to be my warm-up zone because I am going to now be the connector guy, and we're gonna be playing in some water. This is the 10-hole update. The first 10 holes I did were super wet and saturated and muddy, so my boots weigh like 5 pounds a piece right now. The holes that I have left appear to not have standing water in them, so they should go a lot better. This is what my drill is looking like. I don't know if it'll ever be the same after this job or not. And this is my shovel. I think the thing has doubled in weight. Overall, I am doing pretty good. When I duck down below the surface of the ground, I can get out of the wind a little bit. It is kind of breezy right now, and it did stop raining, so that has helped a lot. But I will say my pants are pretty wet right now, so if I sit still for too long, I will get cold. I apologize for not being able to document the process very well, but we did get all of our muddy work done. We got all of our main lines tapped into, we got everything hooked up, and we got everything covered. We spent a lot of time in the Ranger today, and this is how it made out. The inside definitely got redecorated a little bit. We were super muddy and our hands were wet. There's not much we could do to prevent this, and it's just one of those things. My personal favorite is our new custom shifter handle, fully caked with mud. Whenever I'm in conditions that are not very fun to work in, it definitely helps the day go a lot smoother if I am dressed appropriately. Besides having wet pants today, I didn't quite think ahead there to wear my waterproof pants. But besides that, everything else held up pretty good. The black jacket that I have on the outside is waterproof and windproof. Well, not 100% waterproof, but it does a good job of keeping me dry. But with my big hood, when it started raining on us with the wind, it kept things off my face, which was nice. And then underneath, I actually have a vest layer to help keep a little bit more heat in. And then under that, I have a sweatshirt layer. And then under that, I have a base layer that helps get the moisture off my skin if I start sweating. So having everything all layered together today worked out pretty good, and I really didn't get cold besides my hands. And the problem with tiling and hands is you can't really wear gloves because you need to do things that are pretty dexterous with your fingers. And if you got a big bulky glove on, then you can't do those. And then also when you're working with water, most gloves don't fare very well with the water. And then when you throw the mud into that aspect, it sticks to your fingers bad enough. And then when you add gloves into the mixture, basically your hands kind of get solidified like this, being packed full of mud. So my hands were cold, but otherwise everything else made up pretty good. Tomorrow is going to be the day we get everything 100% completed in the field when it comes to the tile stuff. We have 3 outlets that we still need to get hooked up, and then we need to get those covered. We have the area where we dug across where the natural gas pipelines come through the farm. We need to get some connections put in there, and then we also need to get that covered up. And then we have like 50 rocks that we hit with the tile plow that we need to go out with the mini excavator, dig down, and make sure that our pipe still has grade. It's supposed to be like 50-mile-per-hour winds tomorrow, and 35 degrees is the high, so it's not going to be super enjoyable. But looking at our forecast after that, it gets into the 20s, the teens, and even single digits on our 10 days. So after tomorrow, we are going to get frozen out. So it's not going to be fun, but it's what we're going to need to do. It's 30 degrees this morning, and it looks like we got maybe a little dusting of snow last night. We are trying to get these outlet pipes connected up today, and these are dual wall. And normally when you take a green single wall and you put it right into the end of the dual wall right there, they're normally a Bearcat when the temperatures are good. And since we are below freezing right now, they are especially difficult. So we're gonna try to get a torch and see if we can maybe heat that up a little bit. Then we're gonna take some soap on the inside of that to maybe make it a little bit more slippery. And hopefully we can get that in. And we have 3 of these pipes that we need to do that for. And if those things don't work, I'm not sure what we're gonna do. It must have got pretty breezy last night because we have some of the inner pipes for our maxi rolls, and they used to be sitting back there where those 2 are, and we have 3 here that are just about ready to get blown into the creek. Oh, there we got ourselves another one. And there is another one. Since it froze up a little bit last night, we don't have to deal with any mud on the surface right now, which is actually kind of nice. This is the first main line outlet we are going to be hooking up. We currently have the mini excavator sitting over here right now, and Cooper and Zach went up to that wind turbine to go get stuff from the farm. So while I'm waiting for them, I'm just gonna hop in the mini excavator, and I'm gonna go out here into the field, and I'm gonna look for some flags, and I'm gonna start digging up some rock spots. And it looks like we will not have to go very far. I have one. Where is it at? Right there's one. Should be a yellow one here somewhere. Yep, right there. And then there's another one right there. This is rock spot number 1. I don't really want to get out because it is a windy hurricane out there, but I got my first pipe exposed right there in the middle. There is the spot where the pipe kind of came up a little bit, so we're going to do a little digging around that. And then we'll end up throwing the rest of this dirt back in, and we're going to be repeating this process probably like 30 times throughout the entire field. Those were the rocks that we found in the hole, by the way. The torch / soap method must have worked for Cooper and Zach. They got things hooked up here. We are going to postpone digging up rocks for a minute, and we're going to cover this, and then we have 2 more all the way up there at the other end of the field. Outlet number 1 is done. Cooper and Zach got the second one hooked up. We're going to get this one covered here while they are working on the last one, and they have discovered using that little yellow torch right there to heat up the dual wall makes sliding the green one and the black one together so much easier. Why didn't we think of that before? The outlets are now done. This is the area where we dug across the natural gas pipelines. Cooper and Zach already got everything hooked up. Zach's gonna hold the pipe, and I'm gonna push all this dirt back in, and we're gonna cover everything up. The pipeline hole is covered enough to where the pipe is not going to move, and it's really in no danger now. The mini excavator is kind of slow for backfilling compared to the skid loader, so I'm just gonna wait till the skid loader gets back to finish filling that hole. And now we are going to get started with the big fun part, which is finding all of the rocks. Blue flag, we should have a rock somewhere in here. I found the rock, it's right there, and I also found the pipe with the excavator bucket. Whoops. Ooh, big rock right there, but I think the pipe was not bothered. I think it just shoved it over to the side. I traded spots with Zach. He's gonna be running the mini, and I'm gonna be jumping down in the holes doing the fixing. On our first fix, we were fortunate enough to actually miss the rock with the pipe. The plow must have hit it, that's why I marked this spot, but we have grade with our pipe, so we're good there. The problem on this one is I hit it with the mini excavator, so I kind of crushed it, so now it's weak, and I also tore a couple big holes in the pipe that would allow dirt in, so I need to cut this piece out, and then we'll put in a splice piece, and then this one should be good to go. Pretty easy fix, nice mellow dirt right here, easy to dig. So these ones aren't so bad, I just wish I wouldn't have hit it with the mini excavator. Splice number 1, splice number 2. This is our final product. Now we'll cover it with dirt, and this one will be done. It may be windy and cold today, but it is kind of nice when you can hide down inside of a hole like this, because once you stand up here, then you get up into the wind. But when you're down here, it's actually not too bad. Looks like we had ourselves a little bit of a catastrophe on this one. The black tiles that we're putting down are really important, don't get me wrong, but those are lateral lines. The green lines, like the one I'm laying beside, are our main lines, and these ones are even more important because it's where all of the laterals tie into. So if we have a hump in this, we especially need to make sure that we get it fixed, because the entire system is reliant on these main lines being able to take the water away. And right beside me, we have a big hump. It's a little hard to justify on camera, but you can see it pretty good right in front of me. So I'm hoping we can dig this down on the sides, and I hope there's a little cushion between the rock and the main line. If there is, we should be able to get this leveled out. If there is a big rock right here, then we're gonna have to get creative and do some digging. Well, it's not perfect, but it looks a lot better. Once we get done covering, then my dad comes in right behind and closes them with the skid loader. It's Thanksgiving morning. We have about 4 hours where we can work. It is below freezing now, so we have about 12 holes that we need to get finished yet. Hopefully they're not too frozen. It is going to be the last day that we can do this, and then we will be done for the winter. So Cooper should be here in a few minutes. We're gonna get these done, and then the field will be complete. Warmth. Why is there a fork in here? Man, this one was not messing around. It got all sorts of beat up. Wow, that is definitely the worst one that I have seen yet. This is what it looks like when you hit 3 rocks in a row with the tile plow. It makes a big old trench in the field and a lot of digging. This one has some serious glacial till on the side. Wow. Look at that, what I believe is called a subangular soil structure. Quite fascinating. And there's a whole bunch of little bits of gravel and clay in there. It looks kind of cool, but not very fun to dig in. I think once we get this one done, we have one left. Dun, 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 dun. That's not how it goes, but this is our last hole. We have been tiling for the last month straight, and the pushing in of this dirt signifies the very last thing to do in this field. This field is now done.